So, Caitlin Clark haters are just genuinely some of the just dumbest takes I've ever seen online and on Twitter. And I'm not gonna lie, like, I've seen some incredibly dumb takes by the I don't watch basketball, I don't watch the WNBA, I just watch Caitlin Clark and I'm gonna make fun of everybody else. I've heard equally as many dumb takes from that crew, including one from, I heard a YouTube channel basically say that the Fever should have a 6-man rotation, which was hilarious considering the fact that they played 3 games in 5 days. But before we get on, if you guys are new to the channel, subscribe. We're trying to hit 11.7k by the end of today, and we're not too far off it. So, anyway, let's talk. Let's talk about Caitlin Clark. So I saw this tweet right here that was just so dumb. I don't think y'all realize how popular LSU's basketball team was. Look, they were very popular. Y'all can lie and deny all y'all want, but who was y'all tuning in for during the tournaments? It says kids go crazy for Angel Reese at post-conference. Angel Reese, I'm just saying, is one of the biggest names in the WNBA. Like, that is not a surprise. And I'm going to say this, like, the only reason you can dislike Angel Reese is for some of the... I'm going to say this right now, is I think all of that, like, I'm the villain, playing up to that, that's all fake. Like, you can see, she's a competitor, she's a good teammate. Every teammate she's ever had has loved her, has loved playing with her. Like, I think that in general, I don't dislike Angel Reese. I dislike what Angel Reese did when she jumped up and started clapping the cheap shot. I want Chicago Sky to lose, but I don't dislike Angel Reese a person. I think that was just her playing into the act and got kind of carried away, especially with all the Joker stuff and everything. But the last game, no one can say a bad word about her. She just left it on the court and balled out. But let's just not lie. Let's just not lie. Like, Iowa averaged 10.1 million views per game. And the only reason LSU's is 4.5 was that I'm pretty sure, 10 million, they played, 4 games? And one of their games had 10 million viewers because they played Iowa. So it's probably at 2 or 3 million if it's not for the Iowa game. And then Iowa had more viewers against UConn and South Carolina. Look, I'm not going to lie. There is a scenario where, especially with how Angel Reese is playing this year, how well she's been in the WNBA, that more people are going, that the, like, split between how many people are watching for Caitlin Clark and Angel Reese narrows. Because Angel Reese is really, really good. She's really good. And this Sky team are interesting to watch because they're just tough. They just can grind teams out. And they're actually kind of interesting to watch, especially when they play good teams. So, look, and I've said it. If Angel Reese, because if she gets any game, if she just gets a move, whether it be a fadeaway, a mid-range shot, the ability to pop, if she's able to pop in any way, you have to respect her, which means she's going to burn people off the dribble. She just needs a move. Something other than sealing in the post. With her defense, with everything else she does well, with her rebounding, with her ability to steal, and she becomes one of the top 3 or 4 power forwards in the game. There's no question about that, but can we just stop lying and saying up to this point, as far as viewership, that she brings in even remotely similar viewership? But at the end of the day, this is one of the tweets that I've seen. So basically, Lisa Bluter was talking about, because Caitlin Clark won what award was it again? She won the Honda Cup award for the second time. And she's the last person to do it since Maya Moore. And she basically, Lisa Bluter was talking about how Maya Moore was such a big inspiration for Caitlin Clark, and how Caitlin Clark is the Maya Moore for this generation. And she got killed for it. Everyone's like, she's not comparing Caitlin Clark to Maya Moore. One, in college, yeah, Maya Moore had the most winningest record. Cool. Like, she played on UConn. She played on some of the best UConn teams. Like, it's not that it's not impressive, it's unbelievably impressive. One of the best college players of all time. But, like, Caitlin Clark went to Iowa with one other top 50 recruit. Not on a full team of top 15 recruits. She had one other top 50 recruit in the team. And they went and got to 2 championship games. Look, I'm not saying, depending on what you value, but you could argue it's equally as impressive, and she deserved, without question, she deserved both the awards both of those years. And also, the fact is, nobody has inspired more young girls to play the sport of basketball than Caitlin Clark. And before that, it was Maya Moore. Maya Moore's one of the greatest of all time. And the fact is, after, 6 seasons, she went and like, what was it? She went and retired for social justice reasons, which is commendable. Like, people are saying about some players, like, if that's what you believe in, risk everything for it, and she did. So that's incredibly commendable. Like, she's one of the greatest of all time. I've seen people putting her as the greatest WNBA player of all time. I'm not doing that. She played 7 seasons, won 1 MVP. Yeah, she won a bunch of titles, but she was drafted to a super team. Like, she had Augustus, a few other players there on a really good Lynx team. But again, she was the ultimate winner. But saying that Caitlin Clark is this generation's Maya Moore in terms of inspiring young people to play and growing the sport, it's just like calling the sky blue. I think that's what the guy says in this. You see what's happened. That side of Twitter wouldn't stop going at Caitlin Clark for not speaking up. Ever since she did, there hasn't been a day that's passed where they're not dragging her about something. Upset her throwing her hands up at Wallace. If you guys didn't see that shot, Wallace shot a contested three-pointer. She shot a pull-up contested three-pointer on the break for no reason, despite the fact she's not a very good shooter. Upset Lisa Bluter, basically saying the sky is blue and saying she's a role model to millions of kids, just like Maya Moore was. And like, it's not even knocking Maya Moore. Like, the fact that people are like, oh, she's what Maya Moore was. It's just the truth. Clark is leaving a bigger impact than Maya Moore. She is leaving a bigger impact than Maya Moore pre-WNBA, but obviously, you can't... Just because she's leaving a bigger impact now doesn't mean you can say just over the grand scheme of things. Like, if Maya Moore doesn't exist, maybe Caitlin Clark doesn't exist. Just like if Caitlin Clark doesn't exist, the future, whatever 13-year-old has WNBA dreams now and can see the likes of Caitlin Clark and becomes that type of a player, they're obviously going to have that impact. Just like in a couple of years, Juju's probably going to have a similar impact. I don't think Paige is as good as Juju Watkins, but Paige is a hell of a player. So it is what it is. Now it's a bunch of she don't have that dog in her. Like, it's basically, we've seen nothing beside LeBron James when he was at the Heat. It is just moving the goalposts every single day. She doesn't have that dog in her. They drew up a play for Christy Wallace. They drew up a play for Christy Wallace. I'm sorry. She drew up a play for Christy Wallace and she drew up a play for Aaliyah Boston. There was not one play drawn up for Caitlin Clark after the 7 or the 8-minute mark in the fourth quarter when she hit the three-pointer to put the team up at 12. She hit a 3 to put the team up 12. After that, there was not one play drawn up for her for the rest of the game. It's not about having that dog in her. Ironically enough, it's about not undermining her coach. And if she went away from the play that her coach ran, like if she just said, screw this, I'm doing my own thing, people would have had an issue with it as well. Like, this is literally the LeBron treatment. She's getting the LeBron treatment, where it doesn't matter what she does, it's wrong. Like, it is crazy. It is crazy. And the problem is these are people who don't watch the sport of basketball. These are people that are there that don't know anything about basketball, and they just watch hot take shows. They just listen to Twitter for opinions, and they just watch highlights. They don't see what happens in the lead up to that game. They don't know what type of player Caitlin Clark is. They don't know how she is a rhythm player, and if she doesn't get a shot for 7 minutes, her shooting a shot for the game isn't a good idea because she's a rhythm shooter. She needs to shoot them constantly. She needs to be shooting constantly to get into a rhythm. Like, it was not too uncommon to see Caitlin Clark start off 0-5 from 3 in a college game and then end up going 7 for 9 the rest of the way, shooting 50%. That wasn't uncommon. And the problem is that she's not given that free rein and has now became the most efficient scoring pass first point guard ever in the WNBA. The way she's playing right now, she's like Vandersloot on steroids, which is unbelievable. But obviously the coach wants to take her ball out of her hands now. But at the end of the day, look, there's nothing Caitlin Clark can do to stop the idiots that just want to discredit everything she can do. Because you can discredit everything. Just like the people that are refusing to acknowledge how great Angel Reese has been will bring up the fact she struggles with layups. Up to this point in her career, she struggled with layups. That she does catch a lot of her own offense rebounds, although at the same time, like, she still leads the WNBA in offense rebounds without catching her own misses. So while that part is true, at the same time, like that part is true. But at the same time, you're like, there's no point nitpicking. And at the end of the day, it just shows that in pro sports that any player can be nitpicked. Any word can be taken out of context. And I actually don't even mind what the Chicago Sky have done. The Chicago Sky have just made Angel Reese and Camila Cardoso exempt from pre-match interviews. They found a rule. They found a loophole that they can't be interviewed before games, which is great because you guys can, if you guys don't know anything with the way things are, both of these players are being asked interview questions to be tripped up. And heck, did you not even see the thing in Chicago? There was a Caitlin Clark fan there, and they were asked like, "Oh, do you like Angel Reese?" And they were like, "Oh no, we don't." And everyone's calling these 8-year-olds racist, and it's like, look, I'm a Leeds United fan more so than anything else. I freaking love Leeds. Heck, I was a Miami Heat fan. I was a Miami fan. I did not like LeBron James until he joined us because he beat us in the playoffs. He would beat the team. He was on a rival team. I'm a Leeds fan. I still, to this day, don't like Rio Ferdinand. Nothing against Rio Ferdinand as a person. I don't like Rio Ferdinand as what he was as a football player. I'm a Leeds United fan. I don't like, as our football players go again, I don't know these people as persons. I'm not a fan of Tyler Adams treading legal action against the club. I'm not a fan of Jack Harrison. I'm not a fan of half of the players that have screwed over the club in one way or another. And at the same time, I'm not a fan of rival players. Like, I think Kobe Mainoo's a great player, not a fan of him, because he plays for the scum. Like, it is what it is. That's sports. That's sports in general. Especially when you're kids. When you're kids, your heroes, the team you support, are all the best, and everyone on the other team are the worst. We've all thought like that. There's no nuance in this conversation. They don't like Angel Reese. The kids said they didn't like Angel Reese because she plays on the opposing team. They think of her as a rival for their favourite player. It's nothing to do with anything else. And now you've got people attacking 8-year-olds on Twitter. It's getting ridiculous.